Hi, everybody. You're watching Good for the Game TV. Time for a bit of horse racing. We're going to preview the Champions Cup race day that's taking place this Saturday at Turfontein. And we're going to go through a couple of races on the card and get the fancies of Jason Dedekind, who's back with us. Go right to him in a second. But just to mention, if you're new to our channel and you enjoy rugby, you enjoy golf, you enjoy horse racing, make sure you subscribe to our previews. You can go below the video and hit the subscribe button. Let's go over to Jason, though. Last time we saw him, he was talking golf, but he certainly tipped us a few horse racing winners in the past. And if you look at his background, you'd have to say, is this guy teaching advanced mathematics in matric or something? How are you, Jason?
Yeah, evening, Brent. Evening to the viewers out there. Obviously, the backboard there is just a lot of code, as they say. So, it's thanks for having me on the show tonight. Yeah, we've tipped a few winners, we've tipped a few losers, but hopefully we can steer the guys in the right direction. Tiger came good for us at the US Masters, and hopefully from the Champions Challenge perspective, Hawam does the same. It's a fantastic race meeting on Saturday up here on the Highveld. Many graded races. You've got 2 grade 1s, the Champions Challenge, and then obviously the computer form sprint, which, as I said previously, a little bit off air, generally gives note to the Champion Sprinter of the Year. So those 2 races, what we're going to touch on today. The card is full of value. I've had a brief look at it. I've studied races 8 and 9, as we're going to discuss, and I just think it's a good prelude leading into the KZN champion season, as they say. There's also brilliant racing at Greyville tomorrow night or Friday night, Drill All Stakes and a few other graded races there too. So it's just that time of year where the buzz is starting. Obviously, Vodacom Durban July, a month and a bit away, and I'm sure from a racing perspective and the racing purist perspective, the guys will be looking to take a few all-to-comes into that great race.
Great. Well, before we get into the racing itself, just to talk a little bit about what you're currently involved with, Scorebet. How's it going there? It's sort of a fairly recent startup, I think, by South African standards in the online bookmaker game. Are you picking up nicely?
Yeah, Brent. I mean, the reason I'm at Scorebet, I'm trying to help them with their marketing and obviously digital presence. They've got 11 branches countrywide, looking to grow to 15 to 20 by the end of the year. They're mainly in the outlying areas, Northwest Province, Northern Cape, looking for that sort of LSM and taking betting to the masses. From an online perspective, they launched a couple of years ago, but haven't really put much behind that into the market. They did a bit of live betting last year and was successful, but we've decided not to go that way just yet. I've come on board to just sort of not steady the ship because it's a profitable business, but just to relook at the direction we want to take it, see if there's value in terms of the digital space. I'm a firm believer that you have to have a digital footprint in any business these days. And I want to just, I'm going to post something later on Good for the Game in terms of the vouchers and the competition that I want to run with you guys today and tonight and for the weekend. But I just want to get a little bit more interaction with the punters out there. I want to grow a website. I want to grow a business and a brand with the help of the punters. There's a lot of people in my old job used to get sick of me saying, I'm tired of telling the punters what they need to know. I'd rather just ask them. So, whether it's horse racing, sports, whatever the case may be, you'll look at our markets. We're not as sort of wide open as some of the bigger boys, your Hollywoods, your World Sports Betting, your sporting bets. But there's a reason for that. I'm there to limit the risk for now and understand where we can grow with the people out there. So, I know we're doing a horse racing podcast here right now, and the betting will only be available on Saturday morning at 10. That's strategically because our service provider only goes out at that stage with it. But come time of race, our prices we're betting to 105, 106% at some places. So I think we're very good in the markets we offer. I think strategically we know where we want to go. I know where I want to take the business, but I just need the buy-in of the guys out there, and I want a bit of feedback from the guys. So, I'm an old school marketer. I like to be the brand, and hence why I want to just get involved with you guys a little bit more. I've been threatening to do it with my other brands that I've represented, but with Scorebet, I think it's a great opportunity for us to grow, and I think it's a great platform that you guys offer at Good for the Game.
Excellent. Well, Jason, looking forward to doing more stuff with you, particularly horse racing and golf, which I know are 2 of your specialities. But let's get into the Champions Cup race day itself. I mean, I've had a quick look at the card. It's not a sport that I follow that closely, other than, let's call it, the Durban Julys and the Sun Mets and stuff like that. But quality card. I mean, plenty of feature races.
Yeah, plenty of feature races, like I touched on earlier. A lot of grade 2 races. A lot of the juveniles coming through in the nurseries, and Gerald Rosenberg for the older stayers. There's a couple of nice value bets on the card. You know, pick 6 pool, they're estimating to get over the 5 million rands. And I think a fantastic initiative by Pumalela. I think Gins and Roses Festival on Champions Day, I think that's a very well thought out marketing strategy. So well done to the guys there. But for me, it's all about class, and the horse I've tipped to win the Champions Challenge. You know, the Oaks are going to say to me, you know, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to tip a 4-10 favorite, but Hawam is something special. And the day he got beat, I don't think he should have been beat. I don't say that Gavin rode a poor race when touched off by National Park, but you know, I think he should have been a little bit closer. I don't think he should have had any blemish on his record. And you know, there's also a form study called Mr. Chris Swart, who posts on a lot of the forums and stays over in Zambia. He's got this horse racing algorithm where they look at the horse's whole being. They put this algorithm together, and Hawam is rated probably in the top 3 that he's ever rated in his life. So, and that's going with Horse Chestnut and all the rest of it. So Hawam is something special. Obviously, last time when he was due to run the Derby, there was a problem in the parade ring. He got spooked, got scratched, cost many a punter a pick 6 ticket. But that's unfortunately how racing goes. It's, you know, you bleed the sport, you understand the parameters we work with, and I think Hawam's will take a power of beating. I think going 2,000 meters, exactly what he wants. If he goes down to KZN, I've heard different reports. In the beginning, I heard he wasn't going. Then I heard he was going. I see he's in the Charity Turf Challenge. He's still priced up in the top sort of 3 or 4 of the July favourites. I think he's a worthy favourite for this Champions Challenge race, and I think he'll be very hard to beat. You know, for a second, I've also looked at my old Summer Cup winner, Mr.
I know you're going to mention that, Tilbury.
I have to. You know, for the guys that are looking to beat the 3-year-old, now, I will never talk a punter out of going for value. I'm going to bank her while I'm in the pick 6. I'll take a cover jackpot with the likes of Tilbury Fort and that. Tilbury Fort last time out, Striker had him racing a little bit wide, quite handy. I know it says was 7th and 8th at the 400 and 800 and that, but I just didn't. It wasn't his style of racing. And a 3rd run after arrest, I think Tilbury Fort will be a massive runner come Saturday. There's been a little bit of money on another betting site for Legal Eagle, obviously champion in his own right, many-time Equus Horse of the Year. I think at the drawn 12, he never gets sort of a draw at Turfontein. So I think he's a runner. And let's just touch on a few, just go through the race very quickly. Dawn Assault always seems to bat above his sort of pay grade, as they say, but should be there and thereabouts. Unagi at 80-1. If guys are looking for a massive place horse, I know there's only 3 places in this race. Unagi could be something of that horse. 80-1 for win. I think it's 10-1 a place. It could be a runner. Dark Moon Rising making his way up for Paul Lafferty from KZN. Divine Odyssey 1-2 on the bounce, looking for a hat trick. Got more to beat here. I don't think he'll shape into the money, but for the guys that are looking to beat the favorite, consider it. Noble Secret's was disappointing last time out, but likes a bit of the cut out the ground. So if it rains overnight, Friday, Saturday, Noble Secret's one I'll definitely throw in. Red Chestnut Road has also had 2 starts up here on the half felt for Robbie Hill. I mean, that's stable, and that combination, Hill and Wright, won a grade 1 a couple of weeks ago. So, you know, they'll be bang on form. I won't be including it, but I think you know, it's a worthy inclusion in the race. Odd Rob, for me, a little bit outclassed. And then we get to Hawam, who we've spoken about. Massive runner. Cascapedia, the mare against the boys. Also, for me, one of those horses, I'll be following this horse in the champion season down in KZN. I think this horse could be a Gold Cup horse. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know, I'm not sure about the whole breeding sort of scenario of Cascapedia, but I just like the way that she runs, and I think she'll be staying on come business end, so I'll definitely throwing into the quartet. Zilzal, who's finished second, will finish 4th behind Hawam, and then second in his last 2 starts. Also very one-paced. Also one of those horses I think will obviously enjoys ground. And then Fort Ember, one of those other horses that always bats above the pay grade, but like Coral Fever and the like, who's also won major races up here. Drawn one, Richard Fourie for the Paul Peters stable. Should be there and thereabouts. So, for me, I think Hawam's going to be very difficult to beat. Tilbury Fort with Striker up. Striker always looks to cause mayhem on these big days and, show the finger to a few of the younger jocks. And I think that's the race for me. I'm going to be bankering Hawam in the pick 6 and taking a few doubles and trebles onto him. I know 4 to 10 short, but 4 to 10 winner is better than a 20 to 1 loser. And backing it up in the jackpot with the likes of Tilbury Fort, Cascapedia, and probably Fort Ember.
Right. Well, that, as you say, from a betting perspective, quite a one-sided sort of race. But on the other hand, if you're looking to beat it, there could be some value there. Otherwise, places and wingers. I was actually going to ask you about Odd Rob, but you mentioned him because my son's name's Robert. That was one of the names that appealed to me. But looks like it's going to go off at a triple-figure price.
Yeah, at the way that the ratings are done, Hawam's best weighted in here at 121. Dear old, unfortunately, Mr. Odd Rob's weighted in at 86. So it's not a handicap. It's the way that the race conditions are played out. So, if Odd Rob has to run in a big place, he's 100 to 1. So, he's worth a few rand each way just to have a nibble. You know what I mean? I mean, that's my type of bet.
Yeah, that's it. Especially on these big race days, it's sometimes quite nice to go with things like that. And every now and again, they do land. But Jason, that if we're talking about a race that's kind of dominated by one horse in the betting, we move now onto the computer form sprint race number 9. And having a look at that, it's a massive field and looks wide open. Probably going to be betting about 6-7 to 1 the field here.
Yeah, it's a quality field. Make no mistake. These are talented sprinters. You've got guys coming up from Cape Town. Attenborough, who won the race last year, is back to defend the crown. He seems to also like a little bit of the sting out the ground. So one of those horses, for me, Trip to Heaven's been priced up favourite. Losers start. So, he's one of those horses that you back at your peril. I love him. I will be throwing him in. I do think, obviously, Lyle Hewitson, Sean Terry, formidable combination. Trip to Heaven. I just think if it's running a bit quick on Saturday, might just be caught too far out its ground. If it's hard, I'm going to be laying Trip to Heaven. Like I said, I'd relay Rory McIlroy and the Masters.
Yes.
But if you look at the...
Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry to you. If you look at the field, there's quality sprinters here. Bill Valley, 6-year-old gelding now. Dominic Zaki, who works at Teletrack now, obviously used to train this. He loves this horse. And this horse, if he brings his best work to the race course, he's a runner. Rebels Champ 2, gone off the ball last couple of starts, but has travelled. So give him a bit of respite there. Gavin Larena takes the ride. So, he's going to be there and thereabouts. Speed Point, that horse was a perennial bridesmaid for many races and then won a good race down in Cape Town in December. Pacific Trader coming up from the Brett Crawford stable. He's got a good record. A stable companion, Search Party. Trip to Heaven we mentioned. Attenborough we've mentioned. Quinlan, one last time out, very quick, comes up from PE. Yvette Bremner also knows how to win this race. She's a talented trainer and comes up and raids the Highveld very well, very successfully. Down to Zero with Bernard Fado, Herb up. Also one of those horses that should go close. Prince of Caholt. I mean, like you said, very open race. I'm going through the horses here, and I'm getting to my horse that I like. It's called Chimichurri Run. This horse had a very decent 2-year-old career, winning sprints. Finished behind 1 or 2 in this race, the likes of Van Halen on the other side. But this horse has matured now, and it was a very impressive performance last time out. Went third behind Van Halen, I thought. I wasn't really fancying him that day. I think he went off at 3-4 to 1, and I thought he'd be a little bit outclassed, and I thought it was a false favorite, and obviously he got beat. But having said that, I thought the guts that he showed just to go down, he was down the inside, if I remember correctly, and I think this horse now with Anton Marcus up is a massive runner at 7 to 1. I think he's 3rd or 4th favorite, but like you said, a very wide open affair, and I give Chimichurri Run a massive chance. And for me, the play is probably swingers or roving these 2 horses in a quartet because you're going to get a payout. I'd rove it with the 14 Van Halen. This horse won a very decent feature down in KZN in May. He then raced, he won up in the Highveld, and then went down to Cape Town and didn't really enjoy what he was racing in there. Mr. Swash jumped on board him last time out, and they blew away the field. Make no mistake, Van Halen, from what I saw, is a decent horse, and he will be there on Saturday. So I'm going to be taking the quartet in the computer form sprint. Chimichurri Run floated with Van Halen. If you look in their juvenile form lines, there's only 2 lengths separating them. Chimichurri Run's better off at the weights now, so should get close and should reverse the form. I expect him to with the experience. And I think he's just becoming a bigger and stronger horse. But like I said, 7-1, that'll be my value bet on the card. There's plenty of other bets to get involved in, but I just wanted to keep this relatively short. I know I've waffled on a little bit, but it's my passion. I enjoy what I do, enjoy studying form, and for me, Chimichurri Run should give the punters out there a very good run for their money.
Jason, just looking at the card here, as I said, I haven't studied up at all, but look, I see there's a Turby Spish, the trainer of Van Halen. Now,
yes, it is, yes.
To take you back, this was the days when I followed horse racing closely. If I'm not mistaken, he trained the horse, or he used to be quite a specialist in sprints. I don't know if that's still.
No, he still is. I mean,
also juveniles, and I think was the horse called Petrus that won the sprint.
It could be, yes.
Petrus or Tommy Gun, not Tommy Gun, Top Gun or something like that.
Oh yes, Tommy. That he also won quite a few races on sand.
Yes, okay. But I remember the name, and I remember him being pretty good at sprints. But this is wide open. I mean, just give me your tactic here from a pick 6 point of view, Jason. I mean, you are bankering Hawan there in the race before. So what are you going to do? You go wide, surely.
Yeah, I'll probably stick in as many as my budget can afford. Obviously, coming down to the last leg, you don't want to go out. But I have made number 13 on the card, Chimichurri Run, the value play of the day. So where I say I'm going to go wide, from a tactical perspective, I'm not going to go too wide. I'll probably put 5 or 6 horses in, the likes of Van Halen, Chimichurri Run, Trip to Heaven. Like I said, we'll be running at them late, but I'm just worried about the pace of the track. Horses like maybe even Basilius, that could be a bit of another lurker, also highly rated. And then, I'll decide on the day, but one of the Cape Town Raiders, have a look at where the money's at on Pacific Trader Search Party, the likes of Attenborough, and just throw those in. I think if you've got that far, you don't want to go out last leg because I expect it to pay. Obviously, first leg of the pick 6 is the SA Nursery. There's, Twilight Moon's the horse that they've got to beat, but there's a few in there now that should be ready and starting to mature to give him a better run for her money. And then the next race is where I also found a little bit of value. I see they've priced up a horse called Return Flight at 8-10. Take nothing away from this horse. She won very well last time out against her own age, and that she comes into this race with a phenomenal record. Make no mistake, she won 2 legs of the Triple Tiara, so she's no Mickey Mouse horse. But a horse named Fresnay, I just think is tremendous value too, and I think it's about, you can get 7 or 8-1. Third favorite. The ratings, the way that the ratings are done. Let me just get to race 5 here. Returns Flight. She's earned her rating against mainly her own 6, and she's rated a 106. Fresnay has been running in the likes of Rainbow Bridge, Oh Susanna, Clouds Unfold, Celtic Sea, just to name a few. She is the top-rated horse in this race in the best-weighted category in computer form, and she's not 1 point clear, she's 6 points clear, which equates to 3 kilograms. And the next best is Return Flight. So if you guys want to look for a bit of value, she's earned her rating, obviously against her own 6, but also against the best of her generation. She's now 4-year-old Western Winter going 2,000 meters up on the Highveld. They've taken the blinkers off now, so they're going to let her settle. I think she's a massive, massive runner, and I'll be taking the boxed exact 2 and 7 in the Gerald Rosenberg. So I'll be probably going quite light there. Guys will probably look at bankering Return Flight, and I won't say I won't talk them out of it, but I'd urge them to throw in the 2. Then you've got the next, the betting, the Camellia Stakes Grade 2, also top quality sprinters here, Green Plains, Mighty High, Exquisite Touch, Skippers, who I see has been priced up favorite. I'm not sure why. One of those horses I'd also be looking to lay. Pretty Penny. There's decent things there, so I'd go a little bit wider in that race. And then you got the Stayers race, your Walter Smoothie, Top Shot, Liege, the old Summer Cup winner, now trying 3,200 meters. Obviously, Sean Terry does this with a few horses. He keeps them till a good age and lets them just stay on. He's done that with a few of his tops. And then, I like a horse called Turfontein there. I think Samanga Kamala, Joey Soma. Joey likes these long-staying races. He's had a few fillies that have won this, and I think for me, I'll probably go 5 horses in there. So I'll look to go reasonably short, load, banker, and then as much as your budget can afford.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll look forward to it. I'll certainly be getting pick 6 on board and a jackpot as well. Time for me to get back into the races. I always enjoy the big features. But Jason, great having you on the show. Certainly good racing to you then. Will you be working on Saturday? Do you work on the day, or is it a day that you get to the track?
No, I'm not going to the track, but I will be working. You always work 24/7. I am in charge of the betting here. I do have a risk team that runs everything for me, and if there's any problems, they give me a shout. But I am on call 24/7. From a competition perspective, Brent, if it's okay with you,
sure.
I'm going to post something on Good for the Game straight after we've done this. I want to just say to the guys, please log on to scorebet.co.za, sign up, FICA, and have a 50 Rand bet on Champions Day on any of the races to qualify to win betting vouchers. I think I'll give away about 1,000 Rands worth of betting vouchers just to start. I just want the guys to play and understand and help us sort of get to the level we need to get at. Like I said in the beginning, I'm tired of telling people what we think they want to hear. I want the guys to come back and give me a bit of feedback. So I'll itemize the voucher sort of denomination on Good for the Game forum with a link to the website. With there's a first deposit bonus, to T's and C's, the usual story apply there. But I just appreciate any feedback and decent feedback from the guys. I'm here asking for a bit of help, and I've never been one of those guys that not too proud to ask. We are learning. I am learning again. It's different being the sports betting environment again, which I love. So for the guys out there that want to help brand grow and be part of that journey, please just hook me up.
Excellent. Jason, thanks very much. I look forward to the race day. Good chatting to you, and I'll probably catch up with you in a couple of weeks' time. I think we've got another major golf event coming up as well. But thanks. That was Jason Dedekind from Scorebet. Thanks, everyone, for watching this. Enjoy the racing if you're getting involved in the punting, and go and give Scorebet a bash. We'll see you for some rugby previews a little bit later.